Welcome and good evening to our Junior College and Career Planning Night. Hello to everyone out in virtual land out there. I'm Joe Valentino. I'm Supervisor of Guidance and Counseling here at Clayton Public Schools. We're really happy and glad that you've joined us tonight. I think we got a lot of really great information as it relates to juniors. Certainly tonight we have a few speakers tonight. So let me talk to you a little bit about the plan for the evening. Basically what's going to happen is, as I mentioned, we have several speakers. They're going to speak on several different topics and areas for future planning for your sons and daughters. Okay. Parents, well, of course, are not actually joining the Google Meet. But if you have any questions, you should see at the bottom of your screen an email address, which is khallinan@claytonps.org. And yes, Kay Hallinan does stand for Kate Hallinan, your sons and daughters guidance counselor. She's out there monitoring for questions. So what we're going to have you do is, if you have any questions tonight, we'll have you email Miss Hallinan, and at the end of the night, we can get some answers for you live right here on our virtual cast here. Okay. So let me just introduce the speakers and who's going to be speaking tonight. Of course, as I mentioned, I'm Joe Valentino. I'm going to be speaking on college admissions as it relates to the junior class. Then we're going to have, it's not with us currently, but Sergeant Black from the U.S. Marine Corps is supposed to join us. Then we have Sergeant Robinson from the New Jersey Army National Guard. Don Delaney from Camden County Career and Technical Institute is going to speak to us in particular on a program called Career Now, very exciting for students interested in the trades. And we have Sergeant Garcia from the United States Air Force. And then to finish up the night, we have Larissa Virez from RCSJ. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to get started with my presentation here with college admissions. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so before I get started, just want to mention that a lot of this information I'm going to share with you tonight is can be found on our guidance website under the College Information tab. And when you click on that, you'll see a link for the 2021-2022 Clayton High School College Planner. Okay, so certainly, I mean, feel free to take some notes, things like that. But definitely a lot of the information I'm going to talk about can be found there. Okay. So to start, talk about some of the guidance department. Okay, of course you see my name there, and our counselors. Mr. Fruits is currently our 9th and 10th grade counselor. I already mentioned Catherine Hallinan, who is our 11th and 12th grade counselor. Susan Couric Maxwell, she's actually new to our department this year. She is our student assistance counselor, works with students if they're dealing with things like anxiety, depression, unfortunately, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, things like that, some of the very heavy hitter kinds of things. And then Debbie Hocker, our guidance secretary. Okay. So the junior classes, to talk about what's been done up to this point. All right. So last year, and really the year prior, was Naviance assessments. Okay. And these were handled by Mr. Fruits of the guidance department, where we were doing assessments based on career exploration. All right. Things like the career key and the career interest profiler, which basically helps students to start to navigate a path about what they would want to do after high school. Which certainly also, kind of like then gives them an idea of, college and whether the direction they're thinking about leads towards college, things like that. Okay. This year, the PSAT administration was given in October. That is gives a lot of great practice for the SAT, which I'll talk about later in the presentation. And then Ms. Hallinan went into the junior English classes not too long ago and actually gave a presentation very similar to your sons and daughters, like what I'm giving tonight. Okay, so to get them information, getting them ready for future planning as it relates to college admissions. So PSAT, let's talk about that first. Total score represents what you would have taken on, what they would have taken on the SAT had it been taken on the same date. Okay. You would actually go, this is kind of the thing is, students right away want to see their score. But actually, the bigger value for the PSAT is preparation for the SAT. And actually, they can go out to College Board, their College Board account, and create a link to the Khan Academy, which basically gives practice and things based off of their actual score report of where they have areas of weakness, okay, to help them to be able to practice for the SAT, which can be very important when it comes to college admissions, okay? You see a very important note there that use the created account to sign up for a SAT. Don't create a new account because if duplicate accounts are created, sometimes it gets really to be tricky on College Board's end, and then we have to call and and get that handled. Okay, so standardized tests. Okay, things have changed a little bit. So if you have some older children, the SAT changed, and actually now it's changed in the sense that there's no longer an optional essay. Okay, it's still evidence-based reading and writing and mathematics. Okay. The ACT, which actually is known a little bit more out towards like the Midwest and in the Western states, not as known as well here on the East Coast, but essentially does the same kind of job as the SAT, okay? But it's has some different things in there. You see academic achievement. It's based on academic achievement in math, English, science, reading, and writing, okay? I always tell students when they ask, which one should I take? It never hurts to take both. Most colleges will accept. They have an equivalency chart of what if you got this on the ACT, it's what same as this on the SAT, and they generally will take what is most favorable for your son or daughter, okay? The big change is there's no longer SAT subject area tests as well, okay? So if you remember those in the past, College Board did away with those tests. So they were generally tests that were used for some of your higher end colleges, but they no longer exist at this point, okay? So but this is maybe my most important slide of the night. All potential college-bound juniors, okay, you really should sit for the SAT and or ACT for the first time during junior year. Generally, it's a springtime event, the SAT and the ACT, okay? I mean, certainly, if you wait and you do it senior year, it's not like, there are sittings during your senior year, but it's really important to try to get a set of scores, SAT or ACT, at least one, in the spring of your junior year. And I'm about to talk about you have several opportunities to do that, okay? So the dates for the SAT, we have the next one coming up is March the 12th, and that is the registration date is actually coming up by February, actually it's tomorrow, by February the 11th, okay? But the big one is, when I say big one, is the one that's offered here at Clayton High School. I think that a lot of times students feel more comfortable taking a test like this at their own school. And that is May the 7th. That is the one that is offered here at Clayton High School. The registration date for that is April the 8th, okay? And then there is another sitting June the 4th. The registration date for that is May the 5th, okay? And certainly we offered the one in May, but some of the bigger schools will offer, all three. So you definitely can find them, in local surrounding areas if they wanted to sit for, if May 7th doesn't work and they wanted to sit for one of those other dates. And I put a little note on the bottom there. Please be sure to check your SAT Center's website and College Board updates related to SAT testing and COVID. Unfortunately, right now we are still living in an era of COVID, and you always just want to double check in case we're hopeful the cases will go down. But you want to check that prior, just in case a center has to close, things like that, okay? So the ACT, which is never offered on the same Saturdays as the SAT. Okay, you see the dates there for the spring and summer of 2022. April the 2nd, registered by February the 25th, June 11th, registered by May 6th, and July the 16th, registered by June the 17th, okay? ACT, we do not offer that at Clayton High School, okay? And the reason being is we just do not get enough students that take that. SAT is much more known here on the East Coast. We get maybe just a handful of Clayton students that take the ACT every year. But again, you can find that. I know at one point, RCSJ had offered all of the dates for the ACT. So if wanting to take the ACT, you certainly could find one that's close to you, in order to take that, okay? So let's talk a little bit about things to look for in a college. All right, you see some things there, okay? And what I always tell students and parents is that colleges really are, the right college varies from student to student. Okay, it's what's going to the place that where your son or daughter is going to be the most comfortable. Okay, really, and that really varies student to student. Again, location, size, majors and programs, extracurricular activities and sports. That certainly is important to many students. The selectivity, is it very hard to get into? Is it not as hard to get into? Things like that. And then faculty to student ratio. Do you like, do you mind having a school where, maybe, the classes are very large, or do you want a bit more of an intimate setting, as far as faculty to student ratio? Okay, so all these things come into play when your children are looking at what college they want to go to. Okay, going to talk about Naviance in a minute, and Naviance has search engines in there where they can put in different things based on these attributes, and it spits out colleges that fit their matches, which is spectacular. Okay, spectacular search engine in Naviance. Okay, so types of colleges, all right? Junior or two-year colleges. Now, the one that we're most familiar with here certainly is RCSJ, Rowan College of South Jersey. They're going to be speaking in a bit. But, there are all many junior and two-year colleges that are out there, not just RCSJ. Certainly, we have Camden County College. They're a two-year college as well. They're out here speaking tonight. Public and private schools. Okay, so public schools that are part of the New Jersey public school system. Okay, and then private. A lot of times I hear questions about what's the better deal there. Public schools sometimes tend to be not as expensive as the private schools. However, private schools also tend to give out more money than the public schools and scholarships and things like that. So, you want your list to be broad when you're looking at the college prospects. Okay. Religious affiliation, you have co-ed versus single sex. HBCU, historically black colleges and universities. I know there's always an HBCU college fair every year. Unfortunately, the last couple of years, it has been virtual. In the past, we had taken students there. Hopefully, again, next year, we'll be able to actually take students to the live location for the HBCU college fair. And then Ivy League schools, which are kind of your more highly elite, highly selective schools. Okay. So college admissions, okay, the different types. Rolling admissions, basically what that means is there's not an actual deadline for college admissions. It really means that as the college gets the applications in, they get their decisions made and they get the decisions out. A lot of times the students will hear from the rolling admissions colleges first as far as decisions, okay? Whereas the regular admissions is the opposite. Okay, they actually have an actual deadline for college admissions. It might be April 1st, might be January 30th. Okay, something like that, where they wait for all the applications to come in and then they get out their decisions. Okay, as far as who they're accepting. Then there's early decision and early action. Early decision and early action are both types that give students kind of an extra incentive to apply to a college early. Usually when there's an early decision or early action deadline, there's also a regular admissions deadline set later on, in the future, okay? So early action generally is not a binding decision where they're just giving you some extra consideration for applying early. But what you want to be careful about is the early decision, okay? Early decision admission type. And that's because applying early decision, okay, kind of locks you into a commitment. All right. So if you're applying early decision, for a student where they're applying early decision, essentially what you're saying is, if your son or daughter is admitted, that they definitely will enroll in that school. Okay. So while they can pursue other admissions under early decisions, okay, what happens is that once if a student is accepted, the plan is they have to pull their other applications, okay, or they basically aren't, once they're accepted, they're going to go to that school, okay. What we really ask, and this is the most important thing, is if your son or daughter wants to apply to an early decision school, okay, please make sure you schedule a meeting with Mrs. Hallinan. Okay, she just wants to make sure she spells out everything. We want to make sure and check if the decision is binding. We don't want you to, your child to get involved in a decision that they weren't planning on. Okay. So Naviance, talked about this. We do a lot of things through Naviance. Okay, the students are very well aware how to sign into Naviance. We actually have a link from our guidance website to sign into Naviance, and we do all kinds of jobs through there. Those assessments, career assessments, those were through Naviance, the ones I talked about. College search, Ms. Hallinan showed them how to do a college search. We put all of our scholarships in there in Naviance, and a whole host of other jobs that we do at Naviance. It's crucial to the guidance department. So we would encourage you to talk to your children, and they can show you. They should be able to sign on. And if for some reason they say they forgot, don't know how to sign on, reach out to Ms. Hallinan, and she'll let you know how you can sign on and see Naviance. Okay. So the list, okay, at this point, it should be broad, the list, okay? Your children are in a research mode, okay? They want to follow up every lead. Their schools really should be in kind of three categories, all right? Your reach schools are kind of your dream schools. They might be, again, a little bit by the name out of reach, in the sense that maybe the profile was, maybe grades looking for a little higher, things like that. But I will tell you, when it comes to college admissions, dreams do come true, and sometimes students will get into their reach schools. So please encourage them to reach for these dream schools, no doubt. Target schools are the ones that kind of perfectly fit right for your son or daughter, where they kind of belong. And then it's always good to have a couple of safety schools that basically you feel like it's a pretty good bet that they can be happy with those schools, and that they can get into those schools. If they don't have any reach schools, or for some reason the target schools don't work out. Okay. We always mention, and this isn't a knock on RCSJ, they're a fantastic school, but RCSJ is always good to at least have in your back pocket as a safety. Okay. Just in case the four-year colleges, wouldn't work out, or, for whatever reason you want to start. It's an excellent way to start, college. Okay. But we really encourage all of our students to apply to RCSJ, as a safety school, regardless of what their college plans are to start. Okay. Okay, college visit, open houses, certainly, individual and group tours, virtual tours, okay? They got very big, certainly, during COVID. And then college fairs. I'm going to talk about a very big college fair that comes up in October that we run here in Gloucester County, okay? Your sons and daughters want to ask, can I see myself here for the next 4 years? So important. Being happy, okay? Being happy with their surroundings, okay? Because if they're not happy with their surroundings, if they can't see themselves over the next 4 years, for the next 4 years, okay? Chances are they won't be successful. And then, of course, I say there, restrictions may exist due to COVID-19. So please make sure you contact the colleges that you're interested in for details. Okay. Maybe the next biggest screen here is keep up your grades. College application process starts very quickly at the beginning of the senior year. Once we open the building, the next priority is the seniors, okay, which your children will be come, September of next year. So please make sure that they finish strong, okay? It's the last shot to pad that GPA, which is a very big part of what colleges are going to look for acceptance, okay? Okay, some dates to remember. March 23rd, Rowan College of South Jersey. That is the spring 2022 open house for them, okay? I highly encourage you to go out and check out what RCSJ has to offer, okay? That's Gloucester campus. March 30th is the Cumberland campus, okay? Because now there are 2 campuses for Rowan College of South Jersey, and Cumberland campus may offer some things that the Gloucester campus does not. Okay, April 8th is the deadline to sign up for the May SAT, as I had mentioned earlier, and then October the 13th. I know it's a ways out. October the 13th, it will be at Rowan College, South Jersey, Gloucester campus, is our Gloucester County College Fair, okay? We generally get over 100 colleges that go to that, okay? So I know it's a ways out, but if you can mark that date, we'd love to see you there, checking out all of the colleges at that college fair. We do a lot of stuff through the Twitter account, okay? The Twitter account there is @Clayton Guidance. We do advise everybody to check that out. We get a lot of information out through Twitter these days. So I'm a bit of a novice myself when it comes to Twitter, but I'm learning. And, certainly, checking the website out. Our website is great, but, Twitter seems like kind of the way to go these days as far as information getting out there. So if you could check that out, that would be great. Okay, summertime, what you should do, certainly visit schools. Vacation plans can include college stops, no doubt. Refine the list of colleges. Look at deadlines. Colleges are not very forgiving when it comes to missing deadlines, okay? Which goes into the next piece, which is start organizing what you will need to apply in the fall. And realize we do not disappear in the summer. Make sure you call us. Now, Miss Helen Ann, she's in and out during the summer. I'm always mostly here in the summer, spare vacation day or two. Okay, we're not open in Fridays in the summer. Okay, but Monday through Thursday you can get through, and we will get the answer for you if you have any questions. So you're not out there alone in the summertime. Just wanted to make sure you know that. Okay, and then it's my last slide. Parts of a 4-year application. This is kind of where we start with our senior presentation when they're seniors. Okay, the application, official transcript. Those two are definites. Okay. SAT or ACT scores, the interesting thing is that a lot of schools are starting to go SAT or ACT optional. We saw that kind of, I think it's another thing that's a kind of a something from the COVID days here, that a lot of schools were starting to go SAT or ACT optional. I would still suggest at least getting a set of scores for, in case your son or daughter are interested in a school that does require SAT or ACT, but just to let you know that. Then you got some things that, if they're required, letters of recommendation. Some schools want them, some schools don't. The college essay, again, if required, some schools want them, some schools don't. And then the application fee, usually it's like maybe $40, $50, $60, something like that, just for applying. And a lot of times, if you go visit a college, they will give you a fee waiver for that application fee. A little secret to save you some money there, okay? Okay, so that is my presentation, okay? And I'm going to come back to everybody here. Hopefully you can see me there, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I am going to actually turn the presentation over to Sergeant Robinson of the New Jersey Army National Guard. Sergeant Robinson, you are on.
Hey, so thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sergeant Robinson. I'm the recruiter for Clayton High School for the New Jersey Army National Guard. We speak to you briefly about some of the benefits, features, and opportunities that your son or daughter may have if the National Guard is something they do believe that would benefit them in the future. So what we're going to do right now is going to go on. Like I said, the New Jersey Army National Guard. I know in the past year, 2 years, a lot of y'all have heard about us more in the news. With COVID and all the other situations where we've been activated. We are citizen soldiers. So we are 1 week soldiers who more or less handle the domestic side of the house. So all natural disasters, civil unrest, terrorist attacks, anything that happens on U.S. soil, National Guard is stood up, and we are always usually tip of the spear when it comes to handling the home front. So a little bit about me. I'm still 17 years old. I was a high school senior, like some of you all who are watching right now. I'm listed as a human resource specialist. I'm currently a drill sergeant in the United States Army as well as a recruiter. So if any of you do decide to go and listen to the Army, you'll see me, you'll see some of my battle buddies who are also drill sergeants who will train and mold you in becoming soldiers. Also, in 2017, I served in Joint Task Force Puerto Rico for about 4 months to help salvage and rebuild Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. So, brief history. The National Guard is the oldest branch of the United States military. As a little-known fact, we were established in 1636 out of Massachusetts. We're known as the famous Minutemen. On my unit patch, has Minuteman. It's just a symbol of the National Guard. Now the National Guard is being transitioned into the reserve component both the Army and the Air Force. So there is an Air Force National Guard for every state, and there's an Army National Guard for every state, and for the 4 territories. Like I said earlier, National Guard is called for civil emergency, natural disasters, and significant weather events. Most recent thing is the COVID response. A good portion of the state volunteers to be activated to assist at the mega sites with vaccination, with testing, even with the veterans retirement homes that are sporadic, or that are through New Jersey, and also with the DC security from earlier last year. So the difference between components, like I said, we are a part of the United States Army. So a lot of you thought it was only the active duty Army, active duty Corps, and reserve Army. So we are relatively similar. We both consist of 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer at minimum soldiers. But the reserve components, they work at the closest reserve station to their home. So me being from Blackwood and me working in Blackwood, I know that the closest reserve station is Trenton, where you would enlist out of. There's one in Blackwood, but you will more than likely not be enlisted in there. From what my experience, entry-level soldiers get put in Trenton. But the unfortunate part about it, yeah, either 1 week in a month could be in Trenton, and you get promoted, and you get stationed in Fort Indiantown Gap. Fort Indiantown Gap, which is about 20 minutes from Hershey Park. So that's a big difference. National Guard, we are only in New Jersey. The New Jersey National Guard is only stationed in New Jersey. So from Clayton area, Franklinville, there's about 5 or 6 National Guard buildings where you could go do your 1 week in a month and then go home within a 20-minute ride. So that's a little bit of a benefit and the difference between the National Guard and reserves. National Guard, we are a federal and a state owned organization. So we receive all the federal benefits as well as the state benefits that I'll discuss later. And one of the biggest difference, the reserve component supports their active components. So reserves, they are more support-based MOSs and military occupational specialties. Meanwhile, National Guard is the state's army. We need to be fully able to survive on our own. We have our combat arms, but we also have our support MOSs. So throughout this briefing, I'm going to go over these 3 things: the Mission Guard Qualification for Service and educational benefits. So National Guard has a 2-fold mission. Since we are a state organization as well, the governor, who is our commander-in-chief, he has the ability to call up the National Guard and activate us in time of emergency. And most recently, COVID, as everyone's been hearing. Some other things we've been activated for: 9/11, Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Harvey. Realistically, any hurricane that hits the United States, the New Jersey National Guard is on the call. As well as when dignitaries visit. I know when the Pope came to Philly, there was a detachment of National Guard snipers who were attached to his security detail, and when other dignitaries visit as well. Our federal mission, the president reserves the right to mobilize the National Guard and put us into a federal duty status. What that means is we'll be deployed. So we are a part of the Army, even though we are the National Guard. So we do deploy, we do go overseas, but what you do overseas is dependent on what job you pick. So for me, I'm human resources. When I deploy, or if I deploy, I'll be doing my human resource job over there. If you choose to be a cook, my boss has a saying, if you're a cook and you deploy, you're not going to be filling meatballs at the bad guys, you're going to be cooking. So I know a lot of you hear deployment and you get kind of like, oh, like shaky. Just remember, it's the job you pick, and that's the job we'll be doing over there. National Guard has over 70 some jobs, all the way from mechanic to police officer, including infantry, artillery, combat engineer, all in between. So qualifications for service have to be 17 to 35 years old. High school juniors are authorized to enlist. You would go to, for my high school juniors, you would go to basic training over Your junior year summer, you'll be gone for 10 weeks, and you'll return just in time for your senior year, all while doing your 1 week in a month. It's called a split option. But you need to graduate if you do become a split option soldier, or you will be discharged. For everyone else, for my high school seniors who are listening, or parents, sisters, whomever, you have to be 17 or 35. For the seniors, you will not be activated. There is nothing you'll do besides your 1 week in a month at the recruit sustainment program, where myself and the other drill sergeants will kind of give you a spoonful of basic training. You'll learn how to walk like a soldier, talk like a soldier, act like a soldier. But by Sunday at 5 o'clock, you're heading home, and you leave at Saturday. You leave Saturday, and you're done by Sunday. Your low paycheck, you get your health insurance, life insurance, all that fun stuff, and you're just preparing yourself for basic training. Physical, no current physical and mental issues. There are height and weight requirements. If you do think or believe or know that you have some sort of physical and mental health issue, just contact the recruiter. It's best to get it out the horse's mouth, not just from me or from Sergeant Garcia, who's here. Whichever branch that you feel like is best for you, talk to them. Be honest, be very transparent, because you may have something that's not a big deal in the eyes of the military when you do enlist. So just be very transparent. Illegal, no serious law violations. There are waivers for serious law violations. Possession of marijuana is one of the law violations. Even though it is legal in New Jersey, the military still sees it as a no-go. So if that is something, or any other law violation, please just talk to us. In education, you need a high school diploma. GEDs are accepted. Now, education benefits. So these are a list of all of the benefits that the New Jersey Army National Guard offers. Like I said earlier, we are a state and federal entity. So our state benefit is 100% tuition waiver for all public in-state colleges and universities. Rowan, RCGC, Camden County, Stockton, TCNJ. Any school that has a public charter, they have to give Jersey Guard soldiers or Jersey Guard airmen 100% tuition waiver. There is no cash in hand. It's a piece of paper where you go to your commander, they print it out, and you give it to your school. And I utilize this going to Rowan, where I could watch my tuition go from $9,000-$10,000 to zero within a day of submitting my tuition waiver. I'm also going to touch on the Montgomery GI Bill, the Minuteman Scholarship, post 9/11 GI Bill, federal tuition assistance, and college credits for training. So these are a list of some of the colleges that are offered the tuition waiver. I just took a handful of them and threw them on the presentation. If you do have a question, like if you are curious if the college you're interested in or dreamed of attending is one of the schools that are eligible for the tuition waiver, by all means, give me a text, shoot me an email, and I'll gladly answer it for you. So the Minuteman Scholarship. The Minuteman Scholarship is for high school seniors or anyone who's just starting college and have the dream of being an officer. I know Clayton High School has a junior ROTC. I was in junior ROTC when I went to Winslow High School, so I do understand a lot of the cadets have dreams of being lieutenants in the military. So this is one way for them to do it. On top of the 100% tuition waiver, let's just say to go to Rowan University, which has an Army ROTC, they apply for the Minuteman Scholarship. Once you get approved and accepted for the scholarship, you will receive monies for books and fees. During that 1 week in a month, you'll receive a pay increase. So you'll be getting the same pay I do for a drill weekend as a college freshman, junior, sophomore, senior. So it's a pretty big bump. And you'll also be getting platoon leader time while you're at college. And platoon leader, for those who don't know, are the positions lieutenant, entry-level lieutenants take just to assume command time. So some of the requirements for the Minuteman Scholarship: you must be enrolled into ROTC, must be a U.S. resident, and you must score over 1,000 combined on the SAT. So there are a few more qualifiers for it, but I'll tell you this right now: New Jersey's Minuteman Scholarship we've never had all the allotted slots filled. So if you fill it out and you send it, you're more than likely to get it. So the Montgomery and post 9/11 GI Bill. The Montgomery GI Bill is a stipend for reserve soldiers while attending college. You will get this for 36 academic months. So you get $384, and roughly every year it goes up $5 to $10 for your entire bachelor's degree or your undergrad. Or if you already have a degree for your master's or whatever the case may be. This is money for you. You get your drill check, you get the tuition waiver. What I did while I was in school, I would take the Montgomery GI Bill and I would just save it all and pay my fees off, because the tuition waiver doesn't pay for fees, it's just a waiver for tuition. So if you want to do that, you want to put it to a car note, whatever the case may be, that's your prerogative. Now, the post 9/11 GI Bill, stipend for service members who served active duty. That's not just for training. So if you get put on active duty orders in the National Guard for over 30 days, you'll be eligible for the post 9/11 GI Bill. And when you get put on orders, it's usually longer than 30 days, like COVID missions, deployments, whatever the case may be. You will be eligible for the post 9/11 GI Bill. What's good about this is that you still have the tuition waiver to utilize. So say you're going to college using the tuition waiver and you still have the post 9/11 in your pocket, you can pass that down to a dependent, a child, a spouse, whatever the case may be, and they will have the benefit of using the post 9/11. And with that, you'll receive coverage for tuition fees, housing, books, all for 36 academic months. So for your undergrad or for a 4-year education plan. Now, federal tuition assistance. Federal tuition program authorized for members of the armed forces. You'll get $4,500 per calendar year for college, technical schools, whatever the case may be. I know a lot of guardsmen who utilize this. I've seen them use it for culinary school, for out-of-state colleges they really wanted to go to. One of my soldiers, he wanted to play soccer in Pennsylvania, so he's utilizing this on top of the scholarships he's received. I just applied for this today and it took 15 minutes to get approved. So it's relatively quick. The only issue is once that $4,500 is used, is all gone, you have to wait till the calendar year's up to be eligible for it to restart. And that's the blessing about the tuition waiver, is that you can keep pushing, going to school, getting 15 credits a semester. And it's not just for undergrads, it's for your master's degree, it's for a PhD, it's for medical school, law school, wherever you want to go, as long as you're serving that 1 week in a month in the National Guard, you can get your education waived. Now, joint service transcript, like I talked about earlier with the credits for training, joint service transcript is across all branches. So anytime you go to a military course or a school, basic training, your job school, drill sergeant school, whatever, you will receive credits for the time you're gone. So I know when I went to basic training, I missed my fall semester because I left in July and got back in December of my senior year. So I was behind a semester. I got my joint service transcript and I was already ahead of my peers who graduated and instantly went to college. So, and that sticks with you your entire career. So every time you go to a new school, you submit your joint service transcript to your college, and they will add the credits that apply. Granted, if you become a mechanic in the National Guard or in the Air Force or whatever the case may be, you become a mechanic and you're trying to go to school for finance, like the credits won't really transfer over. So just be cognizant of that. But it is a great tool. It's a great benefit. There's a lot of great information that I really didn't spend a lot of time on. But if you do want to contact me, this is my cell phone number, my email as well, and the website for the Jersey Army National Guard. If you do want to take a second to copy this down, you can reach me either which way, and I'll definitely love to speak to you and answer any questions that you do have that you think about later. Okay. So I put any questions. So if you do have any questions, please email and we'll get them answered as soon as possible. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sergeant Robinson. Next, we have Don Delaney from the Camden County Career and Technical Institute.
Good evening, everybody. Just bear with me for 1 second. There we go. So as Mr. Valentino said, my name is Don Delaney. I am from Camden County College, and I'm here to talk about our Career and Technical Institute and our Career Now program tonight. Camden County College is very unique, not only in the state of New Jersey, but also throughout the country, where we as a college actually operate the adult programs of the Camden County Technical School. And this was through a shared services agreement about 10 years ago, where those programs were transitioned to the college with the idea that there might be potential alignments for college credit, and needing a college to be able to do that, the county decided to have Camden County College operate those programs. Well, it's also given us some opportunities where, working with high schools, students are able to work towards, a career or towards a certification while they're in high school or right after high school. And I do want to stress that this is for both opportunities. And a lot of the information I'm going to give about the program is not going to change whether the student's a senior in high school or, a graduate. And, our president, Don Borden, always talks about, not necessarily about going to college, but, the need to do something after high school. And that a high school diploma just isn't enough. And with that, I think it's a great opportunity for students to, learn a trade, go out and work, and make, have gainful employment and make a living wage. And a lot of these programs that I'm going to talk about and the opportunities that are here, they're not long-term programs. They can lead to long-term employment, but generally these programs are completed in about 10 months or less. They generally carry one fee for the program, and those fees include tuition, materials, uniforms, tools, things that they would have to go out and purchase if and when they become employed, and these are already things that they have when they go out to employment. So although these costs may sound a little bit higher from an overall standpoint, from a tuition standpoint, they are very beneficial to students in the long run. Now, I do have to start by saying that, unfortunately, with these programs, because Camden County College also obviously operates as a 2-year academic institution, all of these programs, regardless of if a student does this while they're in high school or graduates, are not financial aid eligible. In both situations, we do have the opportunity to help students with some loan programs in order to pay for these programs. But because we as a college have to distinguish as an academic institution, we are not able to give financial aid for the technical programs within the Career and Technical Institute. Now, as I said, these are 10-month programs, the majority of them. They range in cost from about $3,000 to $7,000. That is all in. We do track and work with students to gain employment when they are done. So these are trade to employment. And I can tell you there is a great need in a lot of these areas for employers right now, because they're seeing a large number of employees retiring, filling a void that, quite honestly, hasn't been talked about for years. The idea of going into the trades has not been, talked about very often going back, probably close to 20 years. And a lot of high schools have even just removed programs that they had within their high schools over that time. And now students and job seekers are trying to employ students with something that, they're just learning about maybe for the first time. Now, I do want to cover a couple areas. So we have certifications in healthcare. We have a certified medical assistant, a dialysis tech, a patient care tech, a pharmacy tech. We have areas in construction. We have construction management. We have HVAC, electrical, welding, carpentry, plumbing. We have culinary arts, baking and pastry, cosmetology, and automotive. And all of these programs are open, again, as I said, to current seniors in high school, as well as when students graduate. And unlike when they attend college, or if they were to go to Camden County College and need to take a placement test and need to take general education requirements, these programs do not require any of those kinds of requirements. Any of the gen ed requirement that they need, or a math requirement, or a reading requirement, those things are going to be covered within the course. It's all built into the curriculum, again, to get them to graduate, within 10 months with a certification, to again make them employed. We work hand in hand with employers. Now, when I talk about, the healthcare field, a lot of times people want to come in because, again, they're trying to go out and they're trying to work. But a lot of these programs, they're ladder programs. And what I mean is that they might be the first, step on the ladder, but there's opportunities to maybe become a nurse, or eventually go back to school and, pursue a degree in biology, something that might interest them in the medical field, and to eventually get a degree. But this allows them to be working while they're going to college, because with the cost of college, a lot of students are working not only part-time and full-time while they attend college. Also, if they're working in the medical field, a lot of times their employer may have tuition reimbursement, where they will actually fund them to go to college and support them throughout their time, because they want to strengthen and keep their employees. Now, with our construction trades, we have there's a couple of different options for these. Now, all students will start at a residential level, which means that they're going to have basic knowledge of how to work HVAC, how to use electrical, welding, carpentry, plumbing. Now, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical also carry apprenticeship tracks. Now, these are additional years. So again, you can finish the residential program in 10 months. And again, a lot of these programs run from September to June. They also take place at the Camden County Technical School in Sicklerville. So they are not on our Blackwood campus, which is our main campus. But during the second, third, and fourth years, they become an apprentice, go through an apprenticeship on their way to a journeyman. They have to be employed, and they have to be sponsored by someone to send them back to school. So the idea of continuing on is, really that they have to be employed. And that's the goal of all of these programs, is gainful employment and a living wage. So students can finish, electrical, HVAC, and plumbing, and they do have 4-year apprenticeship tracks. So yes, there is additional cost for going back to school. But again, the more knowledge and the more opportunity they're going to have down the road. An interesting story about this I'll share with you. Right now, we have a student who's been with us for a number of years, and she's also taken some business courses on the academic side, where she wanted to start her own business and flip houses. And she decided that each year she was going to take an HVAC, then electrical, carpentry, and plumbing course, because one, she wanted to, on small projects, be able to handle it herself, but then also have the knowledge when working with contractors, in case she's working on multiple projects, to have the background needed, not only to tell people what's going on, but to understand what's being told to her. So I thought that was a fascinating story, that, she's really investing, 4 years of an education much differently than a lot of us would think about earning a 4-year degree. she's going to have 4 different certifications and be owning her own business, in this situation. Now, our most popular program is our cosmetology program. Again, with all of these programs like cosmetology, if there is a need for state or any licensure, all students will be earn the knowledge to be able to sit for those licensure exams. I can tell you that we have extremely high, in the mid to upper 90s pass rates on those state licensure exams that programs offer. We also have an automotive program. And again, that requires students to go out and work at the end of their apprenticeship or at the end of their program, about 300 hours to finish, their apprenticeship or their certification. And we also have a culinary arts and baking and pastry program. And again, all of these industries, are hiring. They are in need of employees. And we've just found that working with high schools over the last few years, trying to find opportunities for students, because it's been a trend for a while now about going to college as a senior, taking classes while they're in high school. Well, what opportunities are there for the trades? And we've had a large number of our superintendents, especially in Camden County, and again, we do work with Clayton as well in Gloucester County, a number of other Gloucester County high schools. But, through their conversations, like, what do we have for the trades? And that led us to really looking at how do we offer the program. Now, I will tell you that a few of the programs do have age requirements when they come to employment. And generally that is around 18 years old. The majority of students, I would say, 90-95% that are in the program will graduate at the age of 18. So that should not be an issue. I personally have an August birthday. And again, those students that have those July, August, September birthdays may be 17 when they graduate. So they may need to wait a few months before they are employable or potentially sit for an exam if they need to be 18 to do that. And again, it's a great opportunity, and there's employment opportunities everywhere. I mean, a lot of times we can't, with some of even our certificates on our credit side right now, for instance, our manufacturing program, the minute we find out that we have a new class, there's employers that are ready to take students off our shop floor. So again, it's a great opportunity. Students will learn a lot, but they will be employed. They will be gainfully employed. And again, be able to have a living wage. And as they continue to earn years of experience, their pay rates are going to continue to go up. And again, they're able to potentially leave high school or be 1 year out of high school and, be able to work. And again, I'll just end with, the cost, as I talked about, the need for financial aid, or the fact that we can't award financial aid. I know there's a lot of other institutions that, offer programs like this that can offer financial aid. And I just always tell parents, first off, look at the total cost. As I said, everything that's built into our cost is our tuition, is the materials, is the uniforms, is the tools, all things that would generally have to be purchased by the student. A lot of these programs are 2 to 3 times what Camden County College costs. And although they may award financial aid, very rarely are students funded 100% through grants. And grants are funds that you don't have to pay back. And, a lot of students are still with loans. And let's just say if I took a program that was, $20,000 and you were able to get half in tuition or half in grants and then half in loans, students would still be paying roughly $10,000. And our highest program, our cosmetology program, is $7,400. And that's why I think students have to look at those, also look at the placements, the opportunities that they're getting, pass rates on exams, those kind of things, all of which, Camden County College and our programs are top notch in getting students out. And again, at the end of all of this, we do have a job developer that works with the students, because we have requirements throughout the state that we need to place 80% of our students into programs that they trained for. So which is, great incentive, to know that your child can be employed, upon completion of these programs. And with that, I say thank you for having me tonight. I will be around, if you have any questions, but I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Don. I did want to mention as well that Clayton High School, actually, we piloted this program this year and we're continuing it next year. Very excited that whereas Don Delaney mentioned about the cost for the programs, we got some great news. Clayton High School has committed to paying that tuition for a limited number of students. We've done that actually this year with 3 of our current seniors. 2 took the pharmacy tech program, and 1 is taking the carpentry program. And we as a district committed to paying for that. So actually, we even help there with that cost that Don was talking about. If you look at our course selection book, which is also out on the guidance website, we have a blurb in there about our Career Now program, okay, what we offer. And, when we talk about that, we do have, some stipulations to that, certainly. But that's also something, a great opportunity for some seniors to get this training absolutely free. So the next, I do want to introduce Sergeant Garcia. He's going to talk to you a bit about the United States Air Force and opportunities in the United States Air Force. Sergeant Garcia, you're on.
Thank you. 1 second, please. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Awesome. So first, I want to introduce myself. My name is Sergeant Garcia. I am your Air Force representative. A little bit about myself. I have served for 12 years. I was an aerial gunner in the Air Force. I've been doing that for 11 years. I flew on the AC-130, for anybody that knows planes. I have been on 8 deployments. Also, I joined when I was 18 because I didn't want to go to school. But fun fact, the Air Force actually enrolls you to the Community College of the Air Force on your first day of basic training. And that's the slide that you guys should be seeing right now, is a degree that we have, an associate in applied science, earned through the Community College of the Air Force. The Community College of the Air Force is an accredited school. And right after technical school, you actually start earning credits for your associate's degree. So the way that works is basically you're going to school just like normal. You're learning your job that you're going to be doing for the Air Force. You're getting paid every single 2 weeks, and you're doing a job that's going to be transferable to the civilian side. So a lot of the people use the Air Force kind of as a stepping stone to get what they need. And that's not a problem at all. That we encourage people to pursue bigger and better things. 1 second. Kind of just wanted to talk about that. Sorry about that. Just because I know the National Guard kind of covered everything else. So here is my contact information. Yeah, mine's pretty quick, pretty simple and sweet. I did want to hit on the Space Force a little bit as well. So everybody knows that the Space Force is a new branch of the or was part of the Air Force. Now it's its own branch. Some of the cool things that Space Force is doing is it's trying to get a 50-50% split for men and women in their branch. I think the Air Force right now is about 28% women, and the rest in men. And then I think the next in line is Navy after that, but they're trying to go 50-50. They're trying to be really inclusive and try to be really diverse with their selection. Also with the Space Force, they are only doing top secret clearances. And those are very marketable outside in the civilian world as well. Like I said, I was going to make mine pretty short, pretty sweet. I know it's getting kind of late. So here's my contact information. I am located in Mays Landing. So if anybody has any more questions, feel free to call me and email me, please. Have a good night.
Thank you, Sergeant Garcia. Next we are going to have, last but not least, we have Larissa Virez. She's here to talk to us about opportunities at Rowan College of South Jersey.
Thank you. Let me share my screen real quick. All right, hopefully you can all see the presentation. I want to thank Mr. Valentino for having me, for saying all the kind words that he did about RCSJ. So my name is Larissa Veras. I am the high school outreach recruiter in the high school to college transition center at RCSJ, and I work with the Clayton students. So I'm excited to be able to talk to you and hopefully answer a lot of your questions. I'm going to try and keep it brief. But first, I'm just going to briefly go over what we're going to review. We're going to talk about why RCSJ is a great option for you. I'm going to quickly discuss our class formats, some of the programs and services that we offer, a little bit about our partnerships and transfer opportunities. I'm barely going to touch on financial aid. I'm just going to go over quickly the enrollment steps, and lastly, our high school options program. So first of all, we are one college, but we have two campuses. So we have our Gloucester campus located in Sewell and our Cumberland campus located in Vineland. So you can attend either campus regardless of where you live. We suggest that you choose the campus that is closest to you. However, you want to make sure that that campus has the major that you are interested in, because both campuses have a different application process. You're going to want to apply to that campus, and they do have some majors that are unique to that campus. So for example, our Gloucester campus has our equine science program and our diagnostic medical sonography program, and our Cumberland campus has some unique programs like agriculture, cybersecurity, and glass arts, just to name a few. So you do want to make sure that the campus closest to you has the program that you wish to study. So why is RCSJ a great option for you? Well, we were ranked the #1 community college in New Jersey by schools.com, and we have a lot of #1 programs, including our #1 nursing program, which has been voted #1 for 4 consecutive years, which is pretty amazing. We also have a lot of other #1 programs. We have great athletic teams, transfer assistance, and partnerships, and that's one of the main things that makes RCSJ different than other institutions. We have all of those unique partnerships, which I'm going to touch on in a little bit. And then we have one of the lowest tuition rates in the state of New Jersey. And you can attend RCSJ your way. I'm just quickly going to talk about the 4 formats we're offering: face-to-face, hybrid, which is a mix of live, online, and face-to-face. Then we have the fully live online classes and the fully traditional online classes. And so we're offering these 4 formats. Since the pandemic, we added a few formats, but it really allows students to create their schedule at RCSJ around their life. So it really offers that flexibility that you can have some classes fully face-to-face, some online or live online, and build your schedule the way it best works for you. We have over 120 majors between the 2 campuses, so I'm not going to discuss all of the majors. You can follow that QR code to get to our website, but we do have majors within the following divisions. I'm just going to touch on a few. So in our business studies division, that includes our majors like business administration, computer information systems, human resource management, all of those types of majors. Our career and technical education division is a newer division, and it involves those majors and programs that are going to provide you with the technical skills and knowledge to get a job in the workforce when your time with RCSJ is complete. So in this division, we have our automotive tech program and our process technology program, amongst others. And what's so great about these programs is it's really going to prepare you, similar to trade school, to get into that trade. But you're not only going to get the certification that you need, you're also going to have the degree to back that up. So, someday you want to continue on your education, you'll be able to do that. Communication, fine and performing arts will include, your journalisms, your music, your theater arts. Education humanities will include your inclusive education, your philosophy, your histories. Law and justice will be your paralegal, pre-law, and criminal justice programs. Nursing and health professions is one of our most popular divisions. It includes our selective admissions programs, like our nursing program, which is offered on both campuses. The DMS program that I mentioned earlier is offered on the Gloucester campus, and radiography is only offered on the Cumberland campus. So with those selective admissions programs, there is a 2-step application process. So you're first going to apply to RCSJ and get accepted, and then you have to apply and submit a portfolio to the specific program that you're interested in. So it is selective. Yes, you have to apply to that specific program. You're going to need to take an extra test and attend an information session, and then you'll see if you are accepted into that program. In this division, we also have some programs that are not selective admissions, like our psychology, our nutrition, our exercise science programs, amongst others. And then finally, we have our STEM division, which is going to be your science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So that would be your engineering science, your biology, your chemistry, those types of majors. And then we also have our career and technical education side of the college that is non-credit. So that's going to be usually their one program or one class that they don't give you credit, but they do prepare you to get a job in the workforce. So for example, if you're interested in maybe becoming an EMT, we do have, an EMT course in which you'll take the course, you'll go through your clinicals, you'll sit for the state exam, and then you'll be able to work in an ambulance. So that's just one example of one of the programs that we offer. And you can go on the RCSJ website to see the full list of all the majors that are offered on both campuses. We also have amazing student support services. So just to name a few, we have academic advising. So you are going to get an academic advisor that's going to keep you on track, to graduate while you're at RCSJ. We have free tutoring services. We have our internship and career planning department. So if you're not sure what you want to study, you can visit them and they'll help you with that exploration. They also help you find internships while you're at RCSJ and help you plan for your career beyond your time at RCSJ. And they are open to not only students, but to alumni and the whole community. So anybody can visit and utilize their services, even if you are not an RCSJ student. We have counseling and wellness, student life, which includes our athletics and our clubs. Our special services department helps any students who may have had accommodations for their high school classes. So if a student has had extra, time to take tests, for example, or they get retakes on tests, those are two common accommodations. You can register those accommodations with the special services department, and they'll make sure that they transfer over to your college courses. And of course, we have our transfer services and university partners, which I'm going to touch on a bit in a few slides. We do have competitive athletic teams on both campuses. We have the Cumberland Dukes and the Gloucester Roadrunners, and you'll see all of the sports that are offered on these campuses. Just keep in mind that whichever campus you attend is going to be the campus that you play for. And we always encourage students to get involved. It's a great way to make those connections and meet other students. So you can go also to the websites to learn more about the programs that we offer. And of course, we have our premier partnership with Rowan University. It's in our name. And with that partnership, it allows us to bring you a lot of really unique programs where you can get your degree with RCSJ and Rowan University at a really affordable cost and in a flexible manner. So the first I'm going to talk about is our Rowan Choice program. This program is really unique, and it's only offered with the Gloucester campus because we're in such close proximity to Rowan University. With this program, you live on Rowan University's campus, you pay room and board to Rowan University, but you save a lot of money by taking your courses with RCSJ. With this program, you get to live in a dorm, you get access to all of Rowan University's facilities, but your classes would be held. Some classes are held at Rowan University's campus and at RCSJ's campus, and we do have a shuttle bus that goes between the two. So that's great for students that want that on-campus experience, but want to, save money and start with us at RCSJ. Next, we have our Rowan Partnerships Online program. This is our fully online bachelor's degree program where you do your first 2 years with us and your last 2 years at Rowan University. You can get your bachelor's degree with this program for around $40,000 total. And then we also have the 3+1 program. This program is really special because normally you would just do 2 years with us at RCSJ. With this program for select majors, you can do your third year with us at RCSJ paying our tuition and fees. And your last year, you'll go over to Rowan to get your bachelor's degree. So with this program, you'll get your bachelor's degree for around $30,000 total, which is pretty incredible. You're getting the same exact degree as anybody else that attended Rowan University for the full 4 years, but you'll be paying, at least half of the price that they would be paying for their degree, which is pretty amazing. And there are, like I say, select majors for these two programs, and you'll see the ones that are available. We did just add 2 new ones, and we're always adding programs to this. So data analysis is new, and the criminal justice emergency management is new. And there are a few that are only offered on each campus. So inclusive education and law and justice are only offered with the Gloucester campus, and cybersecurity with the Cumberland campus. And besides that, you can essentially transfer wherever. The possibilities are endless. So we do have partnerships not only with Rowan University, but with many colleges, in the state and in the entire area, especially Wilmington University, Fairleigh Dickinson University, and Stockton. So, as long as you work with your counselor, your academic advisor, they're going to help you get where you need to go. And all of your general education courses are approved for statewide transfer. And this chart here is just going to show you the differences in the average cost of tuition and fees between private colleges, state universities, and the average community college in comparison to RCSJ. So you'll see here that this is just the price for 1 year. So by attending RCSJ for your first 2 years, you're going to be saving a lot of money, and even more so if you're getting grants and loans, and if you're enrolling in a program like our 3+1 program. So you really are going to be setting yourself up for success by starting your higher education with us. And very quickly, I'm sure as juniors, you're going to be hearing a lot about financial aid coming up, but just to remind you, you can apply to the FAFSA, the federal aid, the HESA, the state aid. And if you're a non-citizen, you would want to apply to the NJ alternative application. And other than that as well, we do have scholarships. We have our RCSJ Foundation scholarships that anyone can apply to. And then there are some other state programs like the NJ STARS program. The NJ STARS program is for students that are in the top 15% of their graduating class, junior or senior year of high school. So with that program, if that's you, you can get up to 5 semesters of free tuition. And then if you come to RCSJ and you qualify, you may be able to get NJ STARS 2 as well to continue on and get free tuition for the next institution that you go to, which is pretty amazing. And then we also have some other programs. So on the Gloucester campus, we have our internship scholarship program. With that program, you get free tuition and fees. It's for students that were in the top 25% of their high school class. And you get an internship while you're with us at RCSJ. So not only do you get the free tuition and fees, but you get right into the workforce, and it's a great resume builder. And then we also have the Educational Opportunity Fund, otherwise known as EOF. This is a state-run program that provides assistance to students who may not have the means to attend college. So it is a need-based program that provides financial assistance as well as social support, academic support, and career support. So there are requirements you must meet to apply, but if you think that's you, you can look into that program. If you have any questions, please reach out and I can send you to the right person to learn more about that. And just as an overview of what this is going to look like for you all this time next year. So our application opens up in October, and we recommend that you apply October to December and submit your transcript. Now, I'm in touch with all of the schools, so we usually get your transcript, but you want to make sure that that's in and we have that. And then also in October, as I just mentioned, you're going to want to apply to financial aid. The FAFSA and HESA applications do open up October 1st. So you want to get that financial aid secured as soon as possible. From January to March is when you're going to want to satisfy the testing requirement. I know Mr. Valentino talked a bit about the SAT or the ACT. So what you can do is you can either submit existing standardized test scores and see if they will exempt you from having to take any sections of our AccuPlacer. So we do have our own AccuPlacer test that helps place you in the appropriate courses while you're at RCSJ. So, you can either submit the SAT or the ACT. It's not required. But if you don't submit those, then you will need to take the AccuPlacer. And right now, since we're starting to be allowed to come back into schools, we've been administering the AccuPlacer in schools. So ask your child to keep that keep a lookout for that, because we are coming to the schools to AccuPlacer test. April through May, you're going to want to meet with your academic advisor and get registered for courses. And then, of course, August before the semester starts is when you're going to pay your bill. And the last thing I'm going to mention is that you can still enroll in our high school options program. So with this program, high schoolers can utilize all semesters and take courses at RCSJ for $75 per credit with no fees, which is a significant discount. So maybe you're interested in, trying a course and seeing if you like the subject, seeing if you want to major in that. Maybe you just want to get some credits out of the way for some general education courses. If this is a great opportunity to do so, to try out a course, to see how it goes. Students can take in a limited amount of college courses theoretically. However, you just want to make sure that you're balancing, any college courses you take with us, with your high school schedule, with your work schedule if you have one, etc. If you're interested in, learning more about this, you can visit our HSOP webpage, or you can email designyourfuture@rcsj.edu. And that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you so much for allowing me to present. Again, my name is Larissa Veras. My contact information is here. Please feel free to reach out to me for any questions. I'd be more than happy to help you. And we are in the High School to College Transition Center at RCSJ. In addition, my colleague, Anthony Keller, he is the NJ STARS coordinator. He is listed here as well. So if you have any questions about the NJ STARS program, or if you think your student may qualify for that, it's a little early to tell because they won't be sending out the NJ STARS notifications until after your junior year. But if you have any questions about that, he's the main contact person for the NJ STARS program.
Thank you so much, Larissa. We appreciate all that information.
Thank
So I'm now going to reach out to Ms. Hallinan and double check to see whether or not we received any questions throughout the presentation. Ms. Hallinan, do we have any questions we need to answer?
We do not have any questions at this time, Mr. Valentino.
Great. Okay. Well, no problem. If anyone out there does think of any questions, like after the fact or anything, please feel free to reach out to us here at the guidance department because we certainly will get those answers for you, no doubt about it. Okay. So we've come to the end of our evening here tonight. I do want to thank all of our presenters. They did a fantastic job. Great job, everyone. And I also want to thank all the parents for that joined in tonight. Hopefully you got certainly a lot of information. Thank you and good night.